Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Carolina Lightweight. Come good with us. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the viewers in attendance and Facebook and YouTube users around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? Welcome to the Slime Show. I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Elgato Azul. My partner in slime is Mr. Jamie Dunn at Carolina Lightweights.
How's everybody doing?
Buddy?
Man, I tell you what, we're doing good. How about you, brother?
Doing good. It's finally quit raining here.
And we can't find no rain.
It's been insane here, man. We've been getting at least one major storm every day. We had 3 storms blow through the 2 days ago. Man, insane.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures coming from your area down there, man. To see a lot of places that's flooded. A lot of boat ramps looks like they closed. I saw Telewalkini today.
Yeah, a lot of lakes closed. One ramp open on my lake, which is one of the busiest lakes in Texas. It's insane, man. But
man,
gonna have to take the boat to work.
Oh man, I tell you what, man, I'm excited about tonight's show, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna talk summertime catfishing. So, for us on the lake, it's mostly eaters until the spawn's over, and then even then, it's hard to target big fish. A lot of guys have a hard time in the summer just catching fish. So, wanted to do a show tonight. A lot of guys. I've been getting a ton of questions lately about where to fish in the summer.
And also, guys, we'll remind the chat, tonight's a good night. If you have any questions, feel free to put them out there, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can and try to get to everybody. I see we're getting a good crowd over on the YouTube side, man.
All right. We got my hometown boy, Jeff Martin, in the house, stirring the pot.
Like always.
We got Dustin Clark. Welcome in, Dustin. How you doing, buddy? We got Alex, Texas Fishing. Welcome in, Alex. We got Chuck Watkins, Mr. Bite Lights. Welcome in, Chuck. We got Ed Jenkins. That's our Operation Vets with Nets partner. Welcome in, Ed. I believe he's up in Oklahoma. He's probably getting some of these storms we've been getting. We got Micah Burkhart, King of Tennessee. Welcome in, bro.
What's up,
we got
buddy?
My boy, Killer B. Welcome in, Bill. The Law Dog's in the house. We got Eagle Eyes Tienda. Welcome, Juan. How you doing, buddy? We got Bill Journey. Welcome in, Bill. Until the day after tomorrow. He must be talking to someone else in chat. We got 182. Oh, I messed up my chat stream. 182 QKFTW from Fort Worth, from Funky Town. Welcome in, buddy. So appreciate you guys coming in and spending some time with us.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what do you got going on, buddy?
Well, heck, what don't we have going on, man? We got lots of exciting things. Mama's back there working on right now on a lot of stuff. We've been turning and burning, man. Throwing out orders left and right. Our mail lady still hates us, but we love her. But man, we appreciate everybody out there supporting us here at CLW, man. It's been wide open. We got the brand new orange hats in.
Yeah, looks good, man.
Just put them up, got them released out. So lots of good things, man, happening.
So, guys, if y'all don't know, Jamie's got a side business
called Carolina Custom Apparel. You can get custom hats if you got a channel, if you got a tournament team, if you've got, you know, something cool you want to put on a hat, they can do that. He's also doing decals.
Yep.
Got custom decals you want for your boat, or tournament teams, or if you got a channel, something like that, you can hit him up. He's got the pricing's ridiculous. You won't find cheaper pricing, and decals are good. I don't have any on with me. I put mine on the boat earlier today. So
yeah, we've been staying busy with the hats, the shirts, and the decals, man. It's been wide open.
Yeah, they also making shirts, t-shirts. If you want t-shirts, custom apparel for your company, or a tournament team, or YouTube channel, or whatever, TikTok, he's got you covered. So
yep, get with us, shoot us a message, and Mama, she'll definitely get you taken care of. She does all that. I'll be tore something up.
Killer B said he needs some hats made up. Folks ask all the time, and we were just talking about it before the show. I like to give mine away to people that are friendly and support me, and I've been having guys ask me when I'm going to get some more hats. I had ordered like 40 or something of them, and I gave them all out. I don't have any right now.
But Jeff.
What's
Jeff says, can you make a decal for my bottle jugs? Yeah.
Oh man. What does this say? Does the tip of line matter when catfishing, like braid or mono? You know what he's asking there, Jamie?
Alex, no. Not unless he's asking the difference in between mono and braid. I'm not sure. The type. What is the type of the type? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all personal preference. I prefer mono, but I've got buddies that are high level that like braid.
Yeah,
mono is very versatile, easy to work with. If you get hung up, it's not a nightmare. When you're dragging, if you get hung up with 80-pound braid, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, I'm mono myself, man.
Especially if you get multiple ones hung up.
Yeah.
Typer. Yeah. Big thumbs, man.
Let's see.
Is he talking leader? Jeff says, I think he's talking leader. If you're talking leader, it definitely makes a difference. Mono's more abrasion resistant, so most 99% of guys use, either mono or they use fluorocarbon.
Yeah. Let's see.
James Clark says, you got something in your mouth, Jamie, or did Mama hit you in the mouth today?
I got a little piece of chewing gum.
Chuck says he runs braid with mono leader.
Yeah. A lot of people does that, man. I've always used mono. I've tried braid a couple times, man. Just couldn't get used to it.
So Dan says it doesn't matter if you can break off and then catch it with your reel. when you reel up the adjacent hook. And I know what he's saying. Dan fished with me last weekend. We came off of this hump, and it's got a barbed wire fence, old barbed wire fence from when they built the lake. And I just looked up, and we were way off of the hump, down into where that damn fence is, and we ended up getting hung up. We hung up like 4 rods. We ended up losing one up. We broke off one, and when I'm reeling the other one up, as we're done with the drift, I reel it up, and I had caught the hook with another line. I've never done that. I don't know how I did it.
Wow.
And he said, well, you did catch your buddy's rod. I mean, what are the odds of that? I'm like, yeah, but man, to hang a hook like that it's like so crazy, man.
Wow.
Got all my stuff back though.
Let's see.
Brian Henry, what's going on, buddy?
Alex says, I always hear that people that catch catfish shouldn't use braid.
A lot of guys use braid, especially guys that are on the anchor. They use it a lot more than guys that drag. Dragging, there's some benefits to using mono other than it's easier to deal with. I like that it's got some stretch. If you've got long lines, a little bit of stretch helps smooth out your presentation. It's not so jerky. It just, I don't know. It works. I've tried both. I prefer mono for dragging.
Yeah. Yeah. And to tell you, Chris, I use mono for it all, man. And I've not had no problems, by doing that. I know a lot of people I've seen in the chat, that uses braid, then hooks at the leader to go to mono and stuff. A lot, like I said, it's a lot of preference, what you like and you used to. Myself, I'm just completely straight mono. And if I had problems, I would have changed some stuff up on anchor or dragging, but I've never had no problems.
I got a buddy that uses braid, and I fished on his boat, and he fishes a lot. I mean, he's a good angler. Yeah. We had so many problems with braid, and he does it all the time. I mean, from it going through the eyelets on our planer boards to reeling everything back in, and it's wrapped itself around a swivel, and mono can just come off of that swivel. Braid can. It binds up. It's tight. It just cinches up tighter than mono does. Mono has, kind of keeps some straight shape to it, where we had a lot of issues, but maybe it was just that day. I don't know.
And I have a lot of guys tell me, man, even if they're using braid, they have a lot of problems. Like you were saying with the planer boards, man, that thing's slipping a lot and stuff like that.
That's another thing was happened. So I use quick release clips. And they're just tension clips. And if you use braid, it pulls out of that tension clip, whereas it'll hold mono.
Yeah, that's another reason, I don't use it also is because I do have a friend of mine that fishes on the boat with me, Jeremy, and he uses that, and a lot of times, man, it just slides through there and comes right off with no problem.
Draco 803 says, should I be fishing deep holes in the summertime? So I'm a lake angler. I'm going to speak on lakes tonight. Jamie can tell you about the river. In the lake, in the summertime, if you're in a warm weather climate like me, you get a thermocline. So I was on the lake this past weekend, and our thermocline was set up in 37 feet. If you went deeper than 37, it was no fish. So going deep, it'll work if you're in a river, but most lakes where you're in 82 degrees or warmer temperatures, you're going to have a thermocline, usually in the summer, unless there's some type of current going on and mixing.
I tell you right now, as far as the rivers in our area, our fish are actually bedded up right now. We went out last Saturday. We were able to catch one small flathead, man, and the bites have just basically come to a stop. Now you can go out there and catch some 10-pounders and 5-pounders and stuff like that, but far
That's
as the
what we
big
do.
ones,
We just downsize everything and just go for smaller fish. The tournaments that they host right now, it's a 10-pound fish is the big fish, and maybe somebody gets a teener. Occasionally, you might get lucky and get one bigger. I mean, you can always get lucky and catch a big fish that's just hasn't started yet, or maybe just got finished early. They don't all do it at the same time, so. But
yeah,
as they leave that springtime pattern where they go shallow, we move out into mid depth, and we'll fish that mid depth probably till the beginning of July. I'm looking for main lake structure like points, humps, bumps, anywhere where there's a piece of ambush structure where fish can kind of congregate in the morning and the evening to ambush bait fish. So a lot of the lakes down here in the south have sand bass. I know y'all got perch. A lot of them are feeding on threadfin shad. You're looking for that pattern right now. There's other patterns. You can go shallow right now too. We've had a lot of rain. Everybody's been asking me, "You going shallow?" I'm like, "Man, I took my anchors out of the boat. I ain't going shallow. I'll be
Chris,
out in depth, out in the middle of the lake, hammering."
Chris, I've got a question here. I know the answer to it. I'm ask it out to you. Does thermocline show up on your on sonar?
Most definitely. So thermocline looks like airboat. I mean, here's a good example. Let's say you're motoring around in your boat, and your motor, you're on your big motor. You do a circle. When you come back and you look on your graph, you're going to see the bubbles that are in the water from being on the big motor. They look like, on mine, I got a Helix hummingbird. On mine, it looks like little blue dots. And that's what your thermocline is going to look like. It's going to be a ton of little blue dots. If it's a real heavy thermocline, it'll be just a solid line. Everything below it'll be blue. You'll see fish that will go 1 to 2 feet down into the thermocline, but they won't stay down there. There's no oxygen, so they stay right above that thermocline. Jamie's audio just messed up. He'll be back. So there is a clear line on the thermocline, and it's not all over the lake. So I fished part of the area I was in Sunday. Thermocline was in 37 feet on one side of the hump. When I went on the opposite side of the hump, there was no thermocline, and it was 45 feet. So, if there's current and winds churning, it'll mix it up a little bit.
Can y'all hear me?
I see it. I can hear it. Sounds like wind's blowing or something.
All right.
You're good now?
All right. Good deal. Good deal. Some reason I lost sound and everything. I don't know what had happened.
Yeah, Chuck. That's what I was just explaining. The marks for the thermocline on a hummingbird is going to be blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like just air bubbles, like if you've gone over it with your big motor, but more condensed. Okay, so creeks and coves with a lot of deep water. You'll see the thermocline. A lot of times it'll set up in the deeper water because there's not as much current down there. It's what's happening is it's stratifying. Cold water's not coming up; it sinks, and it stays down there and it's unoxygenated. I don't know why it's different colored on the graph, but it's definitely a different color. Yeah. Yep. If you're in 40 feet and there's a line that, a clear line and everything below it's a different color, that's your thermocline.
And you really can tell, man, what we call it is the dead zone. I mean, it's what we call it. It's.
You want to stay out of it. You can fish the line. You can even go a foot or two down into it. Fish will actually use that zone to stun their prey. So, most of the time when there's no thermocline, you'll see fish orienting underneath bait. But a lot of times on ambush structure, you'll see the fish orienting over the bait. And what they're trying to do is push that bait down into the thermocline where it kind of stunts them. And then on your graph, you'll see red marks. It looks like a V. That's a fish moving real fast as you're marking it. He's going down into that thermocline and feeding, and you'll see these V marks, real pronounced red streaks. Those are the fish diving into that thermocline feeding. That's a good area to fish if you're going to be fishing that thermocline.
Yeah. Yeah, you will definitely be able to see it.
So, creeks and coves, a lot of deep water. So, yeah, we pretty much stay out of the deep water right now. I know a lot of river guys, they go to the deepest hole. That's not for us lake guys. We're in mid-depth right now.
Yeah.
So Just Dragon says he spins his baits just above the thermocline. And, that's how I used to fish after July so in the morning and the evening, the fish leave out of the thermocline zones and they come up onto ambush structure. There is no thermocline up there. They're moving up. They're pushing bait fish. They work in large groups, and they herd this bait fish up onto the ambush structure, and then they kind of all use each other to feed. You'll see sand bass, black bass schooling. They all work together and hit that threadfin shad, and then the catfish just follow those groups of game fish around that are ambushing that shad, and they clean up. So it's usually to about 11 a.m. You can get on that bite, and then in the evening it's going to be the exact same pattern. Now, at a certain point when it gets really hot, the fish will leave that ambush structure. The threadfin will go out into open water. They become pelagic. They just sit out in open water. The water might be 60 feet deep. They'll be 30 feet up off the bottom, suspended. And catfish are not on the bottom. They come up and suspend underneath those fish. Those fish are very difficult to catch that time of year because they move constantly. You'll see them 75 yards over there, and then in 2 minutes they'll be 75 yards over there, and then 10 minutes later, they'll be 200. They'll pop up and they'll be 200 yards up the lake. So I used to fish for them that way. I would suspend. I would try to drag baits, but you'd catch 3, 4, 5 fish real quick, and then they're gone. So trying to stay on them is very difficult.
Yep.
So when they do that, what I do is I move out of the thermocline. I move up the lake to where that thermocline zone is. And there's only about a foot or two of it before there's bottom. And then I fish that, and I drag bottom. And you're eliminating all that, those fish moving around all over the place. Because out in open water, those shad, there's nothing for them to be attracted to like a hump or a point. They just go wherever those fish push them. And so that's a good way to catch them once they kind of get out and leave that main lake structure.
Chris, Eagle Eyes, is there a certain temperature for the thermocline to begin?
I would say probably when the water temp starts to get close to 80, you'll start seeing it. You'll see it in certain areas of the lake that are more protected first from wind. But as it goes on through the summer, you'll start seeing it widespread all over the lake. And it'll be deeper out in the deep water, and you'll move up the lake. It may start getting a little shallower as you move up the lake. So, I mean, you can find a thermocline in 20 feet of water in the summer.
Yep.
You'll have 18 feet that's clear, and then the bottom 2 feet will be thermocline. That's a good zone to fish. You can fish that bottom 2 feet. You can drag right through it, and you got catfish sitting over, diving down and feeding. So,
Drago, do I have any tips for catfishing Lake Murray? Man, Lake Murray, I will tell you right now, stay out the deep water. Like Chris was talking and stuff, you know, there's a lot of deep areas, 70, 80 foot in that lake. Hit a bunch of the shallow areas right now. If you're dragging, move up towards the river where the river comes into Lake Murray. There's a lot of bait holding up in that area from what I've been hearing lately. A lot of people's doing some good fishing up there. But I've also heard, just like here, the fishes are on the beds and things is real slow right now. But you can still catch 10, 15 pounders with no problem. So I would definitely head up towards the river area and work your way within that area.
So Dustin, where would you start looking for big gizzard shad right now on the lake? And I'll tell you, Dustin, right now they're hard to get here. We've had so much rain. A lot of those really spread out. You won't find bait balls right now of gizzard shad. They're non-existent. You can get into an area where you're marking threadfin, and there will be gizzards with them. But man, they're not easy to get right now. If you've got a lake that's got like a water treatment facility that has an outlet with a little bit of current, go hit that. If you've got a bulkhead or a bubbler on your lake, hit that. Those are going to attract bait. Man, getting baits can be difficult right now, especially down here in Texas where we've had just endless amounts of rain. The lake's flooded. There's every inch of shoreline is underwater of flooded vegetation. Shad are up in a lot of that. You can't get to them.
Definitely, if you're fishing areas, that has what they call duck impoundments or fields that they flood and stuff, they normally keep some water up in them this time of year, and you'll see that water, coming out, moving around and stuff. Definitely fish those areas if you have a river or somewhere that has those. You'll find some good bait fish and find some good catfish around them.
Draco, they're generally going to be bedding until the water temp hits 84, 85. But they don't all, in a lake, they start up in the shallow north end of our lakes first, up in the rivers, up in the creeks. Water warms up much faster up there. They go up there and do their business. And the ones that stay in the main lake, hell, it was 77 in the main lake. So some of them are just now going on the nest. The biggest, baddest fish tend to go first. The smaller fish, a lot of them I don't believe are really even spawning. I think, until they get up over about 10 pounds, they just kind of go through the motions.
Yeah.
They carry eggs. They may kind of get around and nest. They don't really know what the hell they're doing. Once they get big, they leave and they go to the prime habitat, which is if you're in a major river, a lot of them will leave the major river and go up into the smaller tributaries where the water's a little less current. They don't like current when they're breeding. So,
Drago, what baits do y'all like the most that's not a common bait? I can tell you one right off the bat. I love using American eel. I love using that. It works terrific here on our rivers. I've used it in a lot of different places. I mean, I would definitely, if you got a bait store that's close by and has got American eel, get some.
So, on Louisville, Johnny, right now, we hooked into a really good one last week. We lost it. It's almost impossible to target big fish on Louisville right now. They're on their beds. If you're going to get one, all the ones that I've always caught have been on hump ledges, on the ledge, on a point, anywhere where it's rocky, where they can get up underneath those rocks to breed, to spawn. That's where I catch them. Now, when I start catching them more frequently, which is, on Louisville, the spawn is usually over around July 4th. Right around that time, the water gets really hot. I'll move up right around where they spawn in the mouths of creeks in the river, and I'll drag those areas just out from the stump fields, and I'll catch them then. And then they spread out and they become nocturnal. It's 105 in Texas during the day. You can't catch them in the daytime. If you do, it's real early in the morning, and you get lucky.
Right now, Chris, we're pretty well sized bait fishing. We're pretty well nighttime all the way. Now, we do have a tournament Saturday that's during the day. I can tell you it's going to be tough. But right now, I'm like you, man. We're nighttime only.
Yeah, we fish mornings mostly. Sun up till about 10:45. As soon as the jet skis hit the lake, we're out of there. But the fish kind of turn off then too, so it works out for us.
Oh yeah.
But Johnny, if I were trying to catch a big fish, I would go on Louisville. I'd be on either White House Hump, I'd be on Twin Poles Hump, I'd be on Tabletop Hump. I'd start out in the deep water, and I'm going to hit that hump. That hump ledge, usually when you're coming up the ledge is when you're going to catch one of those big ones. They're on that ledge. Almost 100%, I mean, very close to 100% of the ones I've caught this time of year have come off of those ledges that are kind of rocky. And then July comes around and I move up north, up around the creek mouths and drag those. And we have fair success catching big fish.
Chris, Alex is asking, when would be the best time right now for bigger fish?
First thing in the morning, right before sun comes up, first thing in the morning is going to be your best shot at one. Also, right when it gets dark. That 30 minutes before and that 30 minutes after, that's going to be prime time when they turn on. They're going to be, if you're going to try to target one, that would be when you would get one, because they start spreading out. Right now, everything's flooded. Unless you're putting your bait up into some flooded brush, you would have to get lucky to get one, because every inch of shoreline is covered with flooded brush. It's like a needle in a haystack. You can get lucky, but there's not going to be a whole lot of skill of, hey, I'm going to go target these big fish. They're on the beds. They don't typically feed when they're on their beds. You can catch a late spawner right now, and you could probably catch an early spawner. There's probably a few that are done. There's probably a few that haven't gone yet. So,
You know, you're talking about the times, Chris. Last Saturday, we ended up catching a small flathead, and I'm wanting to say it was probably right around 10 o'clock. The rest of the night, we had, I think, 2 little bites the rest of the night, and that was it, man. I mean, it was just dead.
flathead probably caught one because a flathead is a little different than a blue.
Yep.
I think a flathead will come off its nest while it's spawning for about 30 minutes and go eat. A blue cat just starves itself. It won't eat. It just becomes, it just defends the nest. It starves itself. Where I think, I know because guys catch flatheads during the spawn. Guys don't catch blue cats during the spawn. They catch them as soon as the spawn's over.
Yep. That's it. Let's see here.
What bait do you like most? It's not common baits. Right now, I'm going for smaller fish, and they're not picky. They'll eat anything fresh. I go small on my baits right now. They tend to want something small. I just trim everything down to silver dollar size.
Isn't that weird how that works, Chris? Wintertime, you're fishing massive baits. Summertime, you're going barely down on bait. It's weird.
And even when they come off their nests, I don't go big. Guys are like, man, I go real big. I'm like, where's all your fish? I'm not seeing any fish. Like, I think in the summertime, I don't know why they prefer smaller baits. Everyone I've caught in the summertime's come off a pretty small piece of bait. Yes, Chris loves chicken. I like, Cane's is pretty good. I like Cane's. I like Popeyes. It's pretty good chicken.
We have a lot of Bojangles around here.
Small hooks. I use 8.0 hooks right now. Yep. A lot of guys even use 6/0. We're basically catching, 5 to 10 pound fish with a kicker that's a teener, and if you're lucky, you'll get a 20. It's just difficult to catch big fish right now. It's a luck thing. If someone would have figured it out by now, if it was possible. Now, if you're in a closed system, that's like, for instance, a lot of these river lakes, it's a closed system where there's like a lock or a big dam, but it's really the lake is more like just a long or a big river. It's just like a giant deep spot in the river. You can still catch them in a section like that because catfish like to go up into the river when they spawn, and when they're done, they leave and go into their holes. If you're fishing a river in the summer, they spawn in like 8 foot of water. And when they get done, they move out into 20, 25 foot of water and sit in those deeper holes during the daytime. That's more something Jamie can speak on, but I know for a fact that that's how it works on all our lakes, because I got buddies that go up into the river and do well in the middle of summer, while I don't know anyone that does well in the lake during the summer.
Yeah, that's like me, Chris. Right now, as far as like going down to Santee, I'd rather fish the rivers right now through the summertime. We catch a lot of flatheads during the summertime. The bigger fish are hitting as far as the flatheads. Moving up shallow at night, sometimes we're catching them like I said, between 7 up to 2 foot of water, using live bluegill at night and catching some decent sized flatheads. Now, the blues, there is more going to be what we're catching right now is actually from 10 out to 20 foot of water right now.
Yeah.
So that's how it's working on our river systems.
All right.
Then,
that's kind of how we're fishing the lake too. So
yeah.
Dan says, what depth are the beds? The beds are in, 8 foot of water, 5 foot of water. Beds are fairly shallow, undercut banks, under rock boulders, up in the creeks, up in the secondary tributaries from a river. They leave that big, deep area with current. They move up into areas that have less current. Now, how does a flooded area going to affect the success of the spawn? Well, if there's a big rain while they're on the nest, that can have a negative effect on the fish. If they're up in the little creeks and you get a big giant rain that's flushing, that can have a negative effect. But once they hatch, and it doesn't take them long to hatch, it only takes, they hatch out in a week. Once they hatch, having that flooded habitat, that is crucial for their fry because the fry can go hide. So on years where there's flooded habitat, you have a high survival rate for the spawn. So the fish are able to survive better. Whereas if there's nothing for them to hide in, the bass and the crappie and everything's going to eat them up.
And what's so cool on the river systems, if you find a creek mouse like you were talking about, Chris, actually on your sonar, you can actually see the little holes and the beds and stuff right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check that out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you want it. So down here in the South, we got people that noodle. Okay, and to be good at it, they put barrels out, and the barrels are generally in 5 to right around 5 foot of water, maybe even sometimes shallower, and so that gives you an idea of where they like to spawn. They will spawn deeper. Last year, somebody pulled a big flathead out of a hole here on Lake Tawakoni. It was a 98-pounder. It come out of 14 feet. So off of a rocky ledge underneath a big boulder. So 14 feet. That's giant. Was pretty deep.
Yeah. Chris, I've got a question. How high off the bottom do you have your bait? Alex was asking.
Right now, I'm about 2 feet off the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm about 2 feet off the bottom.
And myself, for
maybe even a little more sometimes, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, when we
fish are more aggressive right now, the smaller fish, they have a higher metabolism than a bigger fish, so they got to feed more often. They stay very active. The smaller fish feed hard for 4 or 5 hours out of the day right now. A big fish, they're all sitting in their beds. They're not eating. They're not feeding at all. So.
I can tell you, far as suspending right now for flatheads, I will have baits from 1 foot up to 4 foot off the bottom. Right now, different depths, suspending them off the bottom. So I'll drop it down, bring it up, then I'll bring the next one up a little bit more, and we're normally have pretty good success by doing that.
I know a lot of guys post spawn post spawn, which should be, there might be some fish coming off the nest already down here, but post spawn's usually right around July. I know a lot of guys that will fish with no weight. They don't drag bottom. They put lines, free line out the back, and they say on certain, now this is not me, I don't do it, but some of my buddies that are really good anglers say on certain days they catch all their fish off of that free lined rod that's just back behind the boat with nothing, no weight, just a bait back there getting drugged. It's going up. It's going down. Probably staying fairly close to the top. A lot of times we'll catch a fish. I'll look up and my bail's open and it's just getting spooled. And I got a fish on. So that bait was sitting on top because I got rattles and they float my bait up. And so it's very often I'm catching fish on the surface, even if I'm in 30 foot of water. They feed throughout the water. You don't have to be on the bottom.
Yeah. And you hear a lot of people talk about, Chris, just throwing them out before, like you were just saying, they're just starting to go out and bam, they're getting hit just on that down.
Richard says he catches a lot of eaters free lining. We do too. I mean, we caught I don't know, a handful last trip that way. I didn't do it intentionally. I get to talking to my buddy and I just leave the damn bail open. I look up and it's going. I click the bail and fish on. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Chris.
It's not an every so often deal. I mean, it happens quite frequently.
What depth water are they normally doing that in? I mean, are they real shallow or they're?
No, we were in 22 feet. I mean, I'll see them on the surface. Sometimes, even in the winter, I'll see big fish on the surface.
Yeah.
Oh, So, I mean, all I can think is they're feeding. Sometimes on your graph, you can look at your graph and you're like, I'll see the top 5 feet of the water is where a lot of the little bait is. I'm like, bait's on the surface. I mean, you got to think those fish know that they're up there because of their vibration. I'm thinking the same thing with when you got a bait back there, free lining, or in my case, I forgot to close the bail and it's just sitting on top. Frank, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
A lot of people, Chris, sometimes using bigger floats to 3-inch floats or bigger rattles to smaller rattles. I like mixing it up a little bit.
That's what I do.
Yep. And a lot of people, I talk to and stuff, they say, man, why are you using a bigger float on this? Why are you, not using them all the same? Well, when you got it and you're sitting there dragging, you got some that's just up a little bit higher, a little bit lower. I mean, it just
they put out different sounds too, and they generally like one of them over the other ones that on any particular day.
Yep.
Some of these rattles that you got a real high pitch. Some of them got a real low pitch. Some of them are real loud. Some of them aren't very loud. Jeff says, tell Rebecca we said howdy, please.
Everybody say howdy, Mama. She said hello, everybody.
Doing good, Frank. Doing good, buddy. Just trying to stay afloat here in Texas, man. It's been raining constantly.
Yeah, guys, if y'all have any questions, please put it up in chat. We'll be more than happy to answer it. Try to help you out all we can.
Yeah, Frank, that's kind of how I do it. And, it's not like I'm going to go switch everything out to whichever one was biting better. My buddy, we were catching them all like that last week off a couple of the same rigs. And my buddy's like, well, you going to switch them out? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, ideally that would be good, but hell, I mean, it takes too long. I mean, we're catching.
Chris, that's why me and Mom, we always argue. She said, why you take so many rods? I said, well, they're all different. I don't want to change nothing out. I'll just, because I got them, not half and half, but, I've got all kinds of different ones. So I can normally have 2 or 3 that's the same way. So I can tone them in that way.
Randall, fresh is always best, buddy. and
Yep.
it's going to be a 10-1. You'll catch
Yeah.
10 fish for every on fresh that you will for every one on frozen.
Definitely, guys. If you can definitely get fresh bait, definitely.
Trust me, buddy. If frozen worked 75% as good as fresh, I'd probably be using frozen a lot more. But spend the time getting that fresh bait. It pays off. Francisco, what's up, buddy? Ted, what's up, bro? Welcome in, man. Need to get Ted on the show sometime.
Yes.
Saying that.
Draco said, I wish we had a rule that you can't take catfish over 36 inches or something like that. You know, man, that would definitely be a heck of a good rule. I'll back that. But like I said myself, I don't normally catch it or keep anything that's over 10 pounds anyway. It's always catch and release.
I wish they would release. They would put a limit and say you have to turn everything over 30 inches loose.
Yes.
I think that would be a legitimate sized fish. A 10-pound fish is big to be keeping. I mean, it makes a lot of meat, just that 10-pounder. It'll feed people.
And it's a lot better meat too, man. It's a lot better. I mean, definitely 10 and under, man. 10 and under.
Nathan, afternoon drift. There's a fly buzzing. I typically try to get out there early because if I'm doing an afternoon drift, getting bait this time of year in the afternoon is going to be the tricky part. Morning time bait's always easier to get than going out there at 4 in the afternoon. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out there at 4 in the afternoon and it ended up taking me 2 hours to get bait. So if you can get your bait or already have your bait before you do an afternoon trip, that way you can go straight to fishing. If you're going to start fishing right now on an afternoon trip, I would start dragging a little bit before 5 p.m. It gives you about 3 hours. Fishing will be pretty hot and heavy from 6 to 8 p.m. right now. Right till, it gets dark about 8:15, something like that. 8:30.
Chris, I got another question for you, and I've got a couple of my hands to show them. I know after you answer this. Any preference between regular circle hooks, offset circle hooks, or octopus circle hooks?
Oh, man. Well, that makes a huge difference.
Yes.
I like now, the style of the circle hook is not as important to me as the gap. I got to have a certain gap. One, I want it to get, especially when I'm a trophy catfish angler. So one, I want it to be able to get around the tooth patch of the size of fish that I'm targeting that day. If I'm going for 50-pound plus class fish, I'm going with a 10-aught hook. That'll catch pretty much anything. It does really good for high teeners up to 85-pound fish, which that's pretty much the limit for size on most of our lakes.
And Chris, I know how you feel probably about the offset.
Offset's crucial. Now, certain days it's makes no difference, but on certain days where they don't turn, that's where the offset becomes crucial. If you don't have an offset hook on a day where they just clamp it and you're dragging them along, if you don't have an offset hook, you will catch 0 fish that day because you'll just crank down and it just sucks it right out of their mouth.
Yeah, and
if
there's the offset.
At least you can whisker hook them, and you got a chance of getting them in.
Yeah.
And if it's an aggressive offset, usually you can get it into the tooth patch, and you got a chance. Now you'll still lose some because you're hitting bone, but at least you got a shot at getting them if you've got a good offset. I think if you're dragging, it's also important to have a medium wire. Now, if you're in the river and there's heavy current, a heavier wire gauge hook is fine because you got current that's creating drag on the bait and pulling it back. But in a lake, if you don't, I mean, there's no current, so you got a heavy hook. It drags your bait down. It gives you an unnatural presentation. I've caught way more fish when I've moved to a medium wire hook.
And this right here is the one you're talking about right here, or the medium size.
Yeah.
And here's the 12. You can tell it's a little bit thicker, and of course that's the one that I like for the big live bluegill and stuff. So you can see the difference. When I'm dragging, I'm like you, Chris. I like the medium size. It's not heavy. It's not too bulky, and it allows the bait to have more of a reaction to it. So most definitely on that one.
All right. So how long do I let my bait set before changing it to fresh bait? Depending on what type of bait I'm using, often determines on how long I let it set. If I'm anchoring, I change often because scent trail is pretty crucial. If I'm dragging, I'm bringing it to the fish. The rattle's getting their attention. They come right to the bait. You don't have to have a fresh bait. Trust me. I've been doing this a long time. My best bait, I will leave it on there all day long and hammer big fish after big fish after big fish after big fish off one single bait all day long. When you're dragging, you're bringing it to them. If you're doing it with precision, you're taking it to where where they're going to be on their structure, and you hit them basically in the face with it. And the rattle sounds like an injured bait fish in distress. Hey, pup. And when they hear that, they come check it out, and they see that fluttering.
FBI, open
up! They can't see you, buddy. Don't point that at me.
FBI, open up!
FBI.
What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy?
Hey, what are you doing, dog?
Hey, take that stinky dog out of here.
Where's this go?
Chris, I got another question for you, brother.
Go on.
What time of day do you target alligator gar?
Oh man, first thing in the they feed all day, they feed all night. Disco left.
He's back there.
Oh, he's hiding. He doesn't like that gun. Yeah, they feed all day and all night. I got buddies that catch them at night. I don't typically go at night, but it doesn't matter, man. You get it. You put it in front of their face at the right time of day, and they'll eat it. They're creatures of opportunity.
This one, Chris, I think has been something a lot of people's been talking about lately. I'm just not going to go into that, but what have we noticed a decline in big catfish in the past 10 to 20 years? Have you noticed? I can tell you myself, guys, here on our waterways, I can tell you that I have seen a decline in big catfish. I can just answer that for here. I know there's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of fishermen out there and stuff like that. You can base it on a few different things, probably what the reasons are. Chris, how about you on your end?
All right, I'll tell you for certain there's fewer big fish because I've been doing this for 35 years every week. When I was a tenth of the fisherman I am now, I could go catch fish in damn near any section of the lake. They were a lot easier to catch good fish. But I think a lot of them got fished out started really getting pressure on them in the early 2000s. The guides were the ones really that put the ass whooping on them. The guides kept everything. I know Jamie can attest to this. Santee Cooper at one point was cleaned out by the guides.
Yep. They
were running 2 trips a day. They were letting their people keep all the big fish. You used to see stringers in the late 90s, early 2000s, man, they just have a whole string of big fish strung up, keeping every damn one of them. But they decided that's probably not the best way. The lake's recovered substantially since they cleaned that thing out. Some of our lakes took the same beating. My lake was considered one of the best catfish lakes in the country when I was a kid. The world record flathead come out of my lake at one point, and it got a ton of pressure. The guys kept everything and just wiped it out. It got where you couldn't hardly catch a good fish. A 20-pounder was a good fish. Now, with conservation, I've tried to do my best to educate our local guys about why you turn the big ones loose. If you're going to eat fish, there's plenty of eaters if you want to eat them. But if you keep all the big ones, there's not going to be any eaters. There's not going to be any big ones to catch. So our lake's rebounded. You know, I can now go out in my lake and catch 50s. We got, I think last year we got the lake record 2 times in one trip. The record's 25 years old. So it's rebounded. We're catching a lot more 40s out of the lake. Catch 2 or 3, 4 50s out of that lake every year. It used to be every 2 or 3 years you get a 50. Now you go to the other lakes that are around me, like our best lake, Lake Tawakoni, or it's no longer our best lake. It was our best lake. It got cleaned out. Guys, social media, tournaments, it's a variety of things that occurred to that lake, but it used to be epic, and now you can't hardly catch a 50 out of it. And used to, we'd catch 5 40s, 2 50s, a 60, good chance you get a 70 every trip in the winter. To now, you might get 2 20s, a 30, and your kicker's in the 40s. Still a good day, but not like it was. And now I would say, I'm not going to say what our best lake, what I think our best lake is, because I don't want to get cleaned out. But there's another smaller lake that I go to, and we hammer big fish. And guys that know me know what lake it is because they follow me. But you know, one of probably our best big fish lake is Lake Texoma, and it should be producing world-class fish pretty regularly, but there's just so many guys keeping big fish on that lake. It's really hampered it. There should be 100-pounders coming out of there every year, and a bunch of them, really. But guys are keeping all the big ones. They jug them out, and they're gone. And it is a gazillion guys doing it. Why are they doing it up there on that lake? I don't know. A lot of guys are from Oklahoma. They don't care. But Texas, there's a lot of Texas guys doing it too. All I can do is try to help my people understand. Maybe try to get people to love the fish, you know, rather than loving the picture that they get to go home and in the back of their pickup truck, show their buddies, you know. I mean, you take a picture in your boat, turn it loose. Yeah. That's the same impact as taking it home and showing somebody. But I got way behind.
Chris, I've got a question for you. Jonathan was asking, what situations do you use a stinger hook when dragging in lakes?
I use a stinger hook generally in the wind. Well, When I start going big, which is usually October 1st, I go big with the very first cold uh, rain event is generally when it starts for us. We get a good cold rain, the fish get flushed in from the tributaries. I'll run up into the mouths of the creeks and the mouth of the river, and I go big because you got the main lake fish that are going up into the mouth of that tributary, like bass and sand bass and crappie, and they're moving up in there. And you got the big fish that are coming back out from the tributaries into the main lake for the winter, and they meet, and I go big. That's when I start going big, and I stay big all the way through April. Usually, as soon as the threadfin spawn happens, I go. That's when I kind of start going small. There are days where I'll go smaller if the big front's hitting, you know. If it's an east front day with no wind, fish are laying in the mud, I'll downsize everything. I'm going to scan through here and get caught up, man. I got way behind. I saw Mick Petrie in here. He's a Texas legend. I wish I would have seen he come in. Justin Cox come in. See here. Yep, offset circle hook is the winner. Mick Petrie says the gap. That's for sure. Like the gap. Stingers when dragging in the lakes. I use stinger hooks when I'm going big on baits. So hand size baits and bigger.
Guys, keep your questions coming, man.
Eagle Eyes Tienda says, how do you put up with those long nose gar in the shallows? You drag at 0.5, 0.6, and you just move. They don't mess with you. They will pick it up from time to time, but if you're going 0.5, 0.6, they pretty much going to leave you alone. You're going just a little too fast for what a gar likes. You will get a few gar runs if you're dragging through the gar, but just move on. If you're on anchor, yeah, they can be brutal, but when you're dragging, you can drag. I could drag through a thousand gar and not get picked up. On anchor's different. I get it. On anchor, they're messing with you constantly.
Especially as here on the rivers, as the tides gets lower and lower, and then it really starts to slow down, you can definitely tell gar bites.
What's up, Doty? Welcome in, buddy. Getting caught up, guys. Getting caught up. Lone Star Lake at University of Texas is our lake. Never heard of it, so I think you're lying. Vess, what's up, bro? Welcome in. Mick Petrie said, did you say big bait he uses? And I thought I went big. Toledo Bend Reservoir is a big hot spot for big flatheads in Texas. Well, Mick can tell you. Oh, wait, that's Livingston or Toledo Bend? Mick, which tournament did y'all win down there with Cody? They won one this past year down there. The Cat Masters, I think. Yeah, Brian said, yep, that's a lie. Well, you're a fisherman. Livingston. Okay. I always get Livingston and Toledo Bend mixed up because I don't fish them. It's way too far to drag the War Machine. I hear there's some good fish in Livingston, though, because it's a real timbered lake. It's massive. Oh, that's me. Okay, it's Toledo Bend. When it finished third. Okay. Well, I was puffing you up there, buddy. Guys that don't know Mick, he's Texas legend here. I'm friends with his son, Daniel Armstrong. He's also another badass Texas angler. They're always kicking ass in these tournaments. Anybody from Texas knows those boys because they do serious damage. Mickey's a longtime Texas guide. He's another really top-notch Texas angler. Known Vest for about, 10 years. He's got some lake records. And be good to get you boys up here. When are we getting you boys on the slime show, baby?
I was getting ready to ask you, Chris. We need to do some invites, man, if they'll come up with us.
I'm going to get a hold of Vest. I'm going to get a hold of Mick. We'll get these boys up here. Nick says Toledo Bend's his favorite lake in Texas. I can't believe it. That's a long haul, be dragging a boat.
Chris Eagle Eyes was asking, shallow versus mid-depth, leader lengths.
Well, if I'm mid-depth, my leaders are longer. If I'm shallow, I stick pretty close. I stay a little closer to the bottom. One of the reasons, that I go with a longer leader is when I'm dragging mid-depth, a lot of times I'm on structure, like humps, points, ledges. They're real rocky. Fish kind of, sometimes they're at the bottom of it. Sometimes they're on the ledge. So having a little longer leader seems to work better in that situation. But a lot of times when I'm up shallow, I got to shorten all my crap up just to get fish in the boat. If I'm dragging. You know what, Jeff? I got guys that ask me that all the time. I don't even know what the difference between the two are. Maybe somebody can tell me. I mean, I've been dragging, and I've seen that advanced and legacy mode on my trolling motor remote for the last 10 years every week. I don't know what it means. I bet Mickey can tell us. Vest might be not. Well, Vest anchors a lot. Richard says that lake separates the coon asses from Texans. Oh, we were talking about that. I think it was 2 shows ago, Mick. We were talking about you guys up at Texoma fish with 10-foot leaders. I said, when they had that Cat Masters and all those guys came down and y'all kicked everybody's ass. Daniel won that thing. You might have been his partner on that one, but I know a lot of the guys that did do pretty good in that tournament used those 10-foot leaders, and after that, they became a thing. I heard guys calling it the Texoma rig. I'm like, all right, because they got two. A lot of guys were use a 2-hook leader. And one of the hook, they put 2 baits on it. One of the baits is 10 feet off the bottom. One of the baits is down at the bottom.
Yeah. Is that the one, Chris, they're using the O-ring at the top, or like a ring at the top when they hook it up through there?
I don't know. I fished with Cody, and he had some of those rigs on. I don't know that we caught any fish that day with him, but if I recall, he said it's good because Texoma's a lot of ledges, man. I mean, you're either fishing a big flat that's at the bottom of the river, or you're fishing on a ledge, or you're fishing up on a flat that's up on top of the main river ledge. And the whole lake is just expansive like that. It's so I believe that's why. I don't know. I mean, it's really out of my wheelhouse. Okay, yeah, he won it. that tournament up there with Smokey in January, and again with Daniel in November. Mick's the king of Texoma, and I guess we'll call Daniel the prince because, man, those boys are tough up there. You know, we had Daniel on. You were in chat that night, Mick, and it was funny to hear Daniel because when I used to fish with Daniel, I guess he was still going off of a lot of what he learned from you, and he's like, and because I'll hear him say, "Yeah, we use these little baits." I'm like, "Well, I fished with you a handful of time. We never use like never seen you use little baits." Hell, he went down to Tawakoni one time when I was coming to fish with him just to get bait for our trip, and it's like a 2-hour drive, but he's like, "Yeah, but now I'm using 5/0 hooks and tiny baits, and we're still catching giants." I'm like, okay. All right. I mean, I trust it if it's coming from him. He's always shot me straight. Proof that there's no best way to do it because one guy, the dad over here, is throwing baits. You need a cannon to fire that thing out. And Daniel, I fished up there. I fish up there a lot, and a lot of times me and Daniel are right close to each other. And I'm over there getting my ass kicked one day, and he's like, "Yeah, down." He's like, he showed me his baits. You know, it's like I'm chunking big giant baits, which typically works for big fish, but that day we weren't catching jack. He showed me what he was fishing with. He was over there hammering them off a little 2-inch little 2-inch bait. I'm like, damn, I don't even use that small a bait like during the thread fin spawn. Yeah. I razzed Daniel and I said, "Yeah, you got to put a box full of fish in for your clients." He's like, "Yeah, we got all our 70." You know, I think I might have pissed him off. Like, we got all our 70s on a 5/0 with that. It's like, all right, I believe you, man. Just giving you a hard time. Yeah, there's one thing and I don't know how he knows how to snip those fish out, but man, he can go snip those fish out where nobody else can find them on that lake. It's crazy. I'm not following you, Richard. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. The lake over by Bass Pro Shop, that's Ray Hubbard, and that's another good blue cat lake. I've done real well on that lake. I don't know it that well, but it's got a lot of timber in it. It's a mid-depth lake. Most of our timber lakes are pretty good for blue cats. As long as it's at least 40 feet deep, they're generally pretty good. I like that lake. I really like Lavon. Man, we have some epic trips at Lavon. I mean, there's not really another lake that's got the sheer amount of 40-pounders in it like Lavon. I mean, y'all have seen some of our winter trips. It gets just out of control. Now, there's not really any supersized fish. It's got some good fish. We generally, our kicker fish in that lake's going to be in the 50s, mid to low 50s. Jackson got a 65 out of there the day that polar front hit this year, which I think that's our biggest out of that lake. It's about 3 pounds off the lake record.
Chris, what about Louisville Lake?
What about it? That's my home lake. I grew up on that lake. I've been fishing that lake. I don't fish it as much for trophies anymore. In the winter, I'm typically going to other fisheries because I'm chasing. I mean, long you keep doing this stuff as long as I have. You start wanting. It just you takes something bigger to scratch your itch. So I typically travel fish almost every trip now, unless it's summertime.
Chris, what can you tell people, man, right now? What's some of the secrets that you can give everybody advice on summertime right now, as far as fishing?
Summertime right now, you're going to have 2 patterns in Texas. You can fish up shallow around the creek, flooded brush. Typically, that's not a great bite, but we've had so much rain. If you can get up there where the water's flowing in, there's always going to be fish in those areas when you've had the amount of rain that we've had. Other than that, I would fish main lake structure, humps, points, ledges, anywhere where you're going to have game fish, because this time of year you got big schools of white bass. They school up, they feed early, they feed late. If you're on a striper lake, those are good areas to fish underneath them. So it depends on the fishery, but I would be fishing for most of our lakes. It's going to be a mid-depth bite. I would say, 18 to 25 feet, maybe 30 feet. It could be a little shallower on some days, but that's your general depth for that pattern right now. So that's the way I fish. I got buddies that are catching them up shallow right now. If you want to go anchor, I like to drag.
Trying to what any different techniques fishing a channel cat heavy lake? Eagle Eye was asking.
Smaller hooks. Smaller hooks, probably a 6/0 hook. Unless you're not, it depends. What lake are we talking about, and how big are the channel cat in it? Because if they're dinks, man, that's just a beating. They just chew you up. You can't hardly fish around them, man. You have to. They pick your baits off. Your rods they follow your rod for a mile, just chewing on that thing, and then when you reel up, you don't have any baits left. If I'm around a bunch of channel cats, I typically move. Now, if you're in a lake that has them, and you got to fish around them, put on a bait that they just can't chew off real easy. Move away from the shad, because you're going to be fishing empty hooks, man. Use something like, I don't know, if you can get a drum or a buffalo or a carp or even bluegill, they stay on the hook pretty good. Any type of sunfish. Catfish aren't very picky feeders this time of year, man.
He said about 7 to 10 pound channels.
Oh, well, sunfish probably as good as anything right now in our Texas lakes, and they're easy to catch. I fished with sunfish for years. I still got buddies that hammer good fish all year on sunfish. So if that's what you're targeting, go small. But if there's blue cats mixed in there, I wouldn't go too small, because then you're just going to be getting chewed on.
Chris, I've seen some of your lives, man. You can pretty well pick it out by just watching the reaction of your rods. You'll say, man, that's just one just following my rods and he keeps just tipping at it. I mean, you can just watch that because you say, man, watch the end of that rod. It just, yeah.
That's what a channel cat looks like.
Yep.
Pain in the ass dealing with them. Here's something that was interesting last week when we fished. I had a fish we caught on a planer board, and I was pretty sure we had a fish on there, but I thought maybe he's just following it. Well, he took the bait. I didn't know he was hooked up, so I didn't crank down on him. About 5 minutes goes by, and another rod goes down, the rod right next to it. Well, it goes down, so I crank down and I reel it in. It had gone and eaten one bait, went over to the next rod and had a hook in each side of the mouth. He'd eaten two baits.
Wow, man. I have never seen that.
That's the first time I've done that. I mean, that I can remember. It may have happened before, but that's the first time I've caught one fish off two baits, and it was not tangled. He ate both of them.
Wow. Oh, man. He was a hungry little booger.
Beth says time to move when he catches a channel cat. Yeah, certain places you can't really escape them. Everything kind of mixes in together. I think post spawn we probably catch more big channel cats post spawn because we move up kind of in shallower water, probably where there's more channel cats, but we still catch them out. Even trophy catfishing, will catch a decent channel cat on a big bait. Generally, if you catch one dragging big baits, it's going to be a real good one, 10-pound plus.
Do y'all have a lot of big channel cats in your area, Chris?
Hell no, 10 pounds is a good one. Biggest one I've ever caught was 19, and that's a giant for here. 10 pounds, we catch 10 pounders. 8 to 10 pounders are good ones, here.
Nice.
Seven to 10-pound channels are frequently caught, depending on your fishery. And generally, you're going to be catching those off the cut bait, not punch bait. So most of our channel cat anglers here use punch bait or dough bait. Because most of our channel cats are very small.
I haven't used that stuff since I was probably a little kid, Chris. We used to go down to Santee all the time and get those that you just take and you dip in the little dip bait, man.
Yes, dip bait.
7-pounders on Lake Livingston.
Yeah. I want blues too. That's what I'm targeting. We catch channel cat over 10 pounds though. They're fun to catch. They run like a damn striper. No stink bait allowed on my boat. Mine either, Matt. If I'm punch baiting, which I haven't done since Jackson was 1.5 years, the last time we punch bait fish, and that was just because I wanted to get him on his first catfish. So we used to spend a week every summer down at Lake Tawakoni when it was actually a good lake, and we would rent a lake house with a dock, take the boat, I'd chum the dock, and I'd punch bait the dock, and when he was 1.5 years, I'd let him throw it out there. He didn't reel it up, but he just picked it up out of the water and caught him a fish. Nice. That was the first fish he ever caught. I'll never forget it.
and he's been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
Eagle Eye said, golden rule I was told as a kid, stinkier the better. He had to change that after he figured it out.
That's actually not true. I've got a really good buddy that's he's top level channel catfish guide, and his partner in business is Stubby's Cheese Bait. Stubby's a legend cat. He's a legendary channel cat guide here in Texas, and their dough bait is cheese based. You could put it on your sandwich. It doesn't smell. You would. It's not like most stink. It's not a stink bait, and they hammer them on it. So it doesn't have to be stinky.
Don't break out the surgical gloves. Oh, man. Trying to see.
Yeah, so Matt said they free-lined for smallmouth, and they caught several 8 to 10 pound channel cats on a 2-0 hook, live shad. I believe it.
Yep.
Nick says I'm out. Yeah, it doesn't do it for me either. I get it though. I mean, some guys just want to catch fish. I just want to catch something big.
That's it.
I'm like Mick. I use my bait size to filter out everything under 20 pounds.
Yep.
I don't care. Now, if I wasn't a very good angler, I would probably put more small stuff on just so I could catch some fish. But fortunately, I've been doing this freaking 30-something years, man. If I wasn't halfway decent at it, I probably should have taken up golf a long time ago. I ain't golfing. So.
I've tried it, Chris. Too many windows broken.
Yeah, Chris? That's me too. I'm going for 50. I'm targeting a 50 every trip in the winter.
Yeah.
That's the goal, to get one over 50. I mean, I like, 40s are fun, 30s are fun. 20, I'll deal. Okay, we got one. 50s were freaking high-fiving, yee-hawing, fist bumping. And the 6 other boats that are following us around are all hearing it.
You got to love the followers. Chris, while we got a second, you want to talk about what we got coming up for all of our viewers?
Yeah, so we're going to have Cody Kennedy coming on, I think. Let's see. Maybe next week. I think I got him for next week. That'll be a good one. Cody's a popular angler, big fish flathead guy, fishes the rivers. And then after that, let's see. After that, we got Michael Hairston. He's another top-notch big blue cat angler. Man, he's always catching giants. He ought to be interesting to talk to. After that, we got JT Catfish Kid and his dad. His dad are going to come on. They're going to tell us the story of the 105. So that ought to be fun. Tommy Ruffin, JT Catfish Kid. They're on our Carolina Lake Weights team. So that ought to be an interesting show. What else, Jamie? Do I have anybody else in the works?
I believe that's it for right now.
Best cooks.
Yep.
Both would be really good show.
Yes.
So What about you? You got any new stuff coming up?
Man, we've always got a lot of new stuff coming up. As far as Carolina Lake Weights guys, like I said, we're working on something right now that we're probably going to be releasing within the near future. Chris, you already know, but that's going to be very exciting for us. Like I said, working on something cool. Of course, lots of new logos and all that Mama's working on, and decals, man. It seems like a lot of people are loving the PB decals, guys. Go check them out. Grab you one over on the website. I mean, they're real cheap, guys. They ship for free. So hats, there's no shipping on hats or decals.
So, Juan wanted to ask, for the moon phase for night fishing in the summer, does it make a difference? I know that the moon definitely has an effect on the fish.
Yeah.
Is it going to make me not fish? Absolutely not. I've had so many times where guys are like, you shouldn't, you're not going to catch anything, and we'll go hammer them, and it's in some phase it's not supposed to be in my favor. So you can't catch them sitting at home, and hell, going out there and only catching a few beats the crap out of not catching any day.
Chris, you hear that talk about the full moon. A lot of people say, man, don't fish a full moon and stuff. Look here, I've caught big fish on full moon nights, man.
Hey, a lot of guys won't fish the front's hitting. Sometimes that's the only day I can go. So my option is either go or don't, or sit at home and skip the week fishing.
It could be that time you decided not to go, man. It would be the best fishing trip of your life.
Even if it's not good, Jamie, I think sometimes when the conditions are stacked against you, that's when you become a much better angler.
Yeah.
Going out and being able to do it when it's not great conditions and having success at it pretty much separates the good angler from the high-level angler.
That makes you use your skills a lot more, man. And Chris, like you, man, I'm the same way. I love trying to push my skills to a different level, to always learn. Every trip, like I said, my thing is I learn something every trip. I try something different all the time just to see if it works, if it doesn't work. You don't know until you try stuff.
I wouldn't say I'm learning something every trip, but I'm constantly learning if you put it over a stretch, because a lot of the trips I go on, it's the exact condition. I know exactly where it plays out exactly like you think.
Yeah.
It's on those days where things aren't normal, that may be different than what you're used to seeing, and it only happens every so often. Those are the types of trips where you can learn the most, where, okay, all these different things lined up to make this not work, but I found this little thing that did work.
Yeah.
Now, next time when that same scenario pops up, and it may be 3 years, hell, it could be on a 5-year cycle. It could be 5 years before you see that same scenario again, with the weather, the moon, the temperature, everything that aligned exactly like that again. And you can, if you've got it in your database, you can pull that information up and know exactly what to do when you're faced with that. And I think when guys talk about time on the water, that's what time on the water is. It's the accumulation of knowledge over a long period of time, so that when you're presented with that certain scenario, you know what to do. There's not a question. It's, all right, this has happened. Now I know I'm going to go do that.
That's it. And that's right. I mean,
Vest says the hunt on the off days bends poles or bruises egos.
Yep.
It can also make you build your confidence. Vest, when you go out and you're going against all these guys that that maybe don't do so well, and you do, and you think, okay, you know, I was able to figure something out that a lot of these guys weren't. You know, that builds your confidence when you can go do those types of things.
That's it.
And
Chris Alex was asking, does the wind uh, affect the bite in different directions?
most definitely. So, more than anything, consistency on the wind is going to produce the most consistent bite. Uh, but if you've, for instance, let's say it's wintertime and you've had north front, okay, north wind. A lot of times when it switches back out of the south, it skips that no wind or east wind day, or if it is, it's only for a short time, and then it starts blowing out of the south. That can be epic as soon as it switches out of the south. But usually, the longer it blows, I don't care what direction the wind is. If it's a south wind for 3 days, I'm going to go catch fish. If it's a north wind for 3 days, I'm going to go catch fish. What they typically don't like is a big flip flop. So, you always hear wind out of the west, fish bite the best. Not so much for blue cats. Wind out of the west, prepare to get your ass kicked most days. Now, I've had some good trips on a west wind day, but it's not typical. The fish know that front's coming, and they probably were feeding up the day before. By the time it hits, it usually sucks. But the day the polar front hit, I had an epic trip. So, I mean, everybody told me I ain't going. Polar front's hitting. I'm like, well, I'm going because that's the only day I can fish. And, luckily we went because Jackson got a junior lake record. We hammered giants constantly, double, triple. I mean, it was epic. So just go. If you can go. Because, like, because fishing's good for you. Yes, it's time to go fishing, man. Problem is this dink season, man. So I wish I had a buddy that could take me flathead fishing, but I'd go alligator gar fishing, but all our freaking rivers are blown out. We're going to come up there, Mick, fish that Red River Inlet for gator gar, see if we can hook you into one. Yeah, be in the Mississippi next month. Should start firing up. Actually, I've seen some big fish being caught out of the Mississippi. Their water's I'm sure you'll do great.
Chris, I was going through chat. I believe we're all caught up on after the win on my end.
Yeah, we're probably going to do a couple of giveaways soon. I'm going to do a Carolina Lake Weights giveaway. When I do it, I'll make a little announcement. I'm going to do a Mad Cats giveaway. It's coming up on my 2-year anniversary for team leader for Carolina Lake Weights, pro staff for Mad Cats. So I'm going to do a little give back from some of my sponsors.
I know that's going to be exciting, man. Can't wait for that show. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I like giving crap away, man. Well, Jamie, anything else you got? Anything new you want to promote before we get out of here?
Man, that is it right now, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for all the orders, for everybody supporting us here at Carolina Lake Weights, man. It's been unbelievable. The Jesse Jane rigs, the 2.0s, the regular ones have been flying off the shelf this week. So thank you all so much for all the orders and stuff. Me and Mama, we do appreciate it, that's for sure.
Yep, looks like things are flying for Carolina Lake Weights. So,
Yep, a lot of big things happening.
Guys, if there's anybody y'all want to see me try to get on, yeah, Matt says Jesse James rig is killer. Glad you finally got that boat fixed, Matt. I was thinking you might need to go sink that thing in the middle of the lake. But I'm glad you finally got it dialed in, buddy. It's good to see you back on the water. I know it's been painful. So, guys, if there's anybody y'all want to see us try to get on here, hit me up, instant message me or whatever. I'll see if I can get them. It's been able to get pretty much anybody I've asked. There's a few guys that are shy that don't want to come on, but most guys, they just, it's easy. We just shoot the breeze about catching fish. So, Jamie?
Time to go work out, brother. Heading to the gym.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're looking trim, looking like you've been taking care of yourself a little better.
Yeah, man, we've been doing good. Trying to get Fat Boy taken care of right here, that's for sure.
Vess, I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna get you on the show soon. Mick, I'm gonna hit you up. Try to get you on maybe before you go to Vicksburg. I don't know. I guess I imagine you're fishing the tournament at Vicksburg. I don't know. Maybe we get you on after you win that thing. Guys, appreciate everybody stopping in, spending some time with us. Jamie, appreciate you, partner.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
Good times. Guys, tight lines. God bless. Azul out.
Later, y'all.